Welcome to the K20 Center's Zoom Into Your Career video series. These online career expos give students a way to explore many interesting careers and learn about their career options from volunteer professionals. Lily Peppers works as the Youth School Programs Coordinator at Myriad Botanical Gardens. She teaches a variety of environmental education classes to kids of all ages.
All right, so hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Lily Peppers, and I work at the Myriad Botanical Gardens in downtown Oklahoma City. So here is a bird's eye view of the gardens. Hopefully all of you have visited, but if you haven't, definitely come and see us. So I work in the big cylinder building in the center that goes across the lake. That is called the Crystal Bridge Conservatory. And I have an office in there. So I teach a lot of programs inside that building, but I also use the whole grounds to teach my programs. So here's a photo of the inside of the Crystal Bridge. So as you can see, there's some plants in there that don't normally grow in Oklahoma. So we grow tropical rainforest and desert plants in there. So what's neat about that is I can take students outside to our grounds and talk about plants that grow in Oklahoma, and then also take them inside and talk about these plants from around the world. So how did I get here? How did I get to the Myriad Gardens, the job I have right now? Well, starting in high school and really before high school even, I always loved my science classes. They were always my favorite subjects. I was never the top student or the best at it or the fastest, but I really enjoyed science classes. I really loved them. So when I got to college, I was pretty sure I wanted to study some type of science. And I really enjoyed physics and geology. So I decided to major in both of those. They interested me. I especially loved geology because I got to be outside a lot. We would go outside and look at rocks, and I enjoyed that. And in college, I also did a lot of volunteering and doing outreach at local elementary and middle schools. So I taught physics and geology classes. We did a lot of experiments, and I realized in college that I loved teaching. And for some reason at the time, I really didn't think that I could do a career that has to do with that. I'm sure your teachers are all kind of laughing about that right now. I was surrounded by physicists who wanted to do research, so that's what I thought I wanted to do. So I went and became a geophysics researcher in California, and I studied earthquakes. And I liked it okay. There were some things I liked about my job, but I really missed working with students. So I decided, it was for the first time that hit me, like, wow, I really liked doing that volunteering in college. Why don't I try to do something like that for my job? So I applied for an internship at the Myriad Gardens, and I did get that. And what was great about doing the internship was I wasn't expected to know everything already. I could learn a lot on the job. And so that was a really incredible experience. So this is a photo of me. I'm on the very far corner of the photo. Pretty much just a couple years out of college, and I was helping teach a program. I was helping another staff member teach a program. So I loved my internship, and I applied for a job that they had. So here are a couple more photos of me when I actually got into the position I'm in now. I started to get to teach my own classes, and that's really where I got super excited. As you can see, this last photo is kind of silly. When I talk, I use my hands a lot, and I make really animated faces. And this photo is showing we're actually outside planting bulbs. So we plant them in the winter, and they'll come up as tulips and beautiful daffodil flowers in the spring. So what education and training do you need for the career that I'm in or the job that I'm in? So you guys know a little bit about my training. So I had a background in science. I'd done those informal teaching experiences in college. And then that internship, like I said, was really, really crucial for me because I really didn't have much training in teaching about plants. So I got that experience in my internship. If you were going to go into this field or this career, some other helpful trainings would be studying something like horticulture. So I work in the education department at the gardens, but we also have a horticulture department. So they are all the ones that take care of the plants. So at a botanical garden, you definitely need people who are going to care for the plants. You could also study education or nonprofits. The Myriad Gardens is a nonprofit, so working in a nonprofit, it's helpful to have that background as well. So to dive in a little bit more to my job responsibilities. So like Alex said, I'm the youth and school programs coordinator. So if we just break that down, I work with all the youth, so all the kids that come to the gardens to do education, and all the schools that come to the gardens to do education. So I do weekend family programs, and I do school field trips and tours. Typically when you work in a nonprofit, you wear many hats. So what I mean by that is you have your job responsibilities, but we all help each other out. So I help decorate the lobby for the holidays, right? It's not in my job description, but you kind of just have to get on board and do lots of things. So some people don't like that because they really like to have their one job they're doing, but I like it, and a lot of people like it because it's very busy and it's always exciting. So my favorite part of my job are the weekend classes I do when I'm teaching the kids education classes. So just have a couple photos. This was a pond class I did. We taught about pond wildlife. This one was really fun. It was a rock terrarium class. You know, I have a background in geology, so I got to bring that in a little bit and connect it with plants at the gardens. Here we did a Peter Rabbit class, and the kids got to pull up carrots from a garden. This is a winter wreath class. So we collected a lot of materials outside that had fallen off of plants, and we made wreaths out of them. Planting herbs. And even at the holidays, I always do a gingerbread house decorating class where we get to decorate the house, but we also learn about where gingerbread comes from, what plants are used in it. Another program really quick that I wanted to tell you about is it's a new school program I designed called Little Plants on the Prairie. So it's about the prairie. So here is a photo of the prairie garden at the Myriad Gardens. And so the students that come for this program, we get to go outside and visit the prairie garden, and then they come inside and they work at different stations and look at specimens of plants and seeds. So I just wanted to show you guys some of the tools that we use. So this is actually a real plant that I went out and collected and then pressed. So I dried it out and then I glued it and put it in here. So the students get to look at plants up close in this class. They also look at seeds up close. So I don't know if you can see this, but these are fluffy seeds from a milkweed plant. So these use the wind to travel. And this is also really fun. Part of the lesson, kids get to make their own seed that they think will either fly well in the wind or stick to animal fur. So I think this was a combination, wind and sticking to animal fur. So just to touch quickly on salary for this type of position, usually ranges from $30,000 to $50,000 a year. And of course, that's really dependent on where you are in multiple factors, but usually where you are in your career. So whether you're entry level or whether you've been in this career for many years, you're more advanced, has to do with years of experience in that type of position and also your education. So you can always go back and get more education, and that would help bump you up in that range. And so just to wrap up, my path to my career certainly was not a straight path. It was definitely winding and curved, just like this photo here of a path at the gardens. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I certainly didn't have a direct straight path I knew for what I wanted to do. So I just recommend that you really think about things that you're good at and that you feel confident at in school or outside, but also think about things you love, right? I didn't even think, oh, I love doing this volunteering teaching. I didn't even think that I could somehow incorporate that into what I do. So I think it's great you guys are already thinking about it at your ages. So yeah, I've enjoyed sharing with you about my job, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Awesome. Thank you, Lily. If you'd go ahead and go up to the top and hit stop sharing screen. That's an awesome question. Someone wants to know what your favorite plant is, Lily.
That's a very good question. It's a tough one for me, but I think my favorite one is something called a starfish plant, and it's one we have inside of the conservatory. So it's a desert plant, and when the flowers bloom, They smell like rotting meat, which sounds really gross, but it's very exciting to bring tours through, and the kids love smelling those. And the reason it smells like rotting meat, I don't know if anyone can guess, but it's because flies are the pollinator for that flower. So flies, right, usually like to land on all types of rotting food. So they're attracted to that smell. So then they go in the flower and they pollinate the flower. So you can actually smell it smells really gross.
Perfect. All right. They came in late, and so they're wanting to know if you could tell them a little bit about the position that you work, and why you chose the job that you have right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I work at the Myriad Gardens downtown. I'm in the education department, and I'm the youth and school programs coordinator. So I work with all the youth that come in to do education, so all the kids that come in with their families. And then I also work with all schools that come in. So I handle our field trips and tours that we have come in. And the reason why I sort of found myself in this career, I used to be a science researcher. So my background's in science. I've always really loved different kinds of science. But I also really love teaching, and I discovered that in college when I did some volunteer outreach. So this job's perfect because I get to combine my interest in doing research about different topics and then getting to teach students about them.
Thank you so much. We are going to move on to wants to know what Miss Peppers does at the Myriad Gardens.
So I am the youth and school programs coordinator. So I get to teach all about different garden topics or nature topics. And I teach to families and students, but families and kids, but also classrooms and schools that come through. And yeah, I do like a variety of teaching classes in the education department.
Wonderful. It looks like has a question. So wherever classroom is at, if you want to go up and unmute yourself and ask your question.
How many years did you go to college to take the position?
Good question.
So that's a very good question. So I went to college for 4 years, and I did all those years in a row. So I went right from high school right to college, and then I was at college for 4 years. I graduated, and then I went right into my job out in California that was doing research. And I did that job for 2 or 3 years, and then I started at the gardens. But yeah.
Okay, let's see. Wants to know how many kids you have during your weekend classes and how you keep them interested and engaged in what you're learning about.
Oh, very good question. So typically when I teach classes on the weekends, I have between 7 kids to 20 kids. So it just depends on which families sign up. And usually the kids come with their parents. So if I have one kid signs up, there's usually 1 or 2 parents with them. So I might have up to 30 people in my classroom when I'm teaching on the weekends, or it might be a small group of 10 people. And how do I keep them interested and engaged? So I know the weekend classes, I really have to keep them engaged because they're not at school, they're not in school mode. So my weekend classes, I do what I call hidden learning, which is we play games and we watch videos and we do crafts where I'm teaching them things, but they're getting to do really fun things while they're in the classroom. So I don't just sit there and lecture at them or anything like that or make them do worksheets. So that's one way I keep them engaged. I'm also, I don't know if you can tell a little bit right now, I'm still waking up this morning, but when I'm teaching about a topic I'm really excited about, like rock terrariums, I'm like moving around the room and I'm like doing goofy things and just making them laugh. So I would say that's another big way I keep everyone engaged, or at least just laughing along with me. So that works.
That's awesome. Wants to know where you attended college.
So I went to a small school called the College of Wooster, in Ohio. So it's in Wooster, Ohio. It's spelled like Wooster. So like you'd spell rooster, it's spelled like Wooster, Wooster, but it's pronounced Worcester. So it's a small school in Ohio, the College of Wooster.
Okay, we have another question from, they would like to know what the most poisonous plant is that you work with.
Ooh. I'm gonna have to think about that for a second. So we're pretty careful about what plants we work with and we have in the conservatory, because there are people that come through that might not know that they're poisonous. So there are no like really crazy poisonous plants we have. And actually anything that would be, I would say the most poisonous would be inside of our conservatory. So the plants on our outdoor grounds, most of them aren't poisonous. There's a lot of poisonous plants that come from the rainforest or desert. I'm trying to think. You know what? I'm sorry, I can't think of one off the top of my head. I know that for a while we had poisoned dart frogs, so that's not a plant, but those guys were pretty cool. So if you in the wild, those frogs, if you even touch their back or touch their skin, it can be really deadly. So I did never handle the frogs because I don't have the training, but.
That was really good information and a really good question. So thank you. Let's see, we're gonna go to that has a question to ask you, so you guys can unmute yourselves.
Yes. What would be the average salary for her job?
Great question. So it's typically 30,000 to 50,000 a year. 30,000 to 50,000 a year. And that really depends where you are in that range, just depends on your years of experience in the field or your career, and also education.
Okay, we've got a few more. Let's see. Wants to know what classes that you should take in high school to prepare for this position. I know you talked a lot about being interested in science. If there are anything that you can think of specifically, that would be awesome.
Yeah. So definitely more of the life sciences. So biology would be a really great one to take. I definitely teach a lot of biology, ecology, a little bit of geology. Some schools have more like gardening or horticulture or botany programs. So my high school didn't have any of that. And I actually didn't even know that I wanted to really study plants when I got older. But if your high school or your school does have opportunities for horticulture or botany, those would be really, really great classes to take, or even if there's just a club or an elective.
Thank you. We're going to go to their question is, what do you do just on a daily basis? What does a typical day look like for you?
That's a great question. So I would say a typical day, I have my own office, which I'm in right now. So I typically come in and I look at my email. I do get a lot of emails. I mentioned in my presentation earlier that when you work at a nonprofit, you wear many hats. So it means that I have the basic responsibilities that I told you about, where I do youth and school programs. That's the main thing I do, but I also book all of our group visits that come to the gardens. So typically I'll come in and I'll have emails where a senior group wants to visit on December 20th, and can you help us arrange that? So I arrange all of those. So I go through my email. I usually have at least one school group a week. So, maybe that morning at 10 a.m. I have a guided scavenger hunt. So I would go with the students into the conservatory and we'd walk around and I'd tell them about plants. And then maybe I'd have a meeting in the afternoon where I'd meet with our public events department. So we do education here, but we also do big public events like movie nights and festivals. So I might meet with them and collaborate with some colleagues about an upcoming event that we're working on together. Last week, or not last week, but right before Thanksgiving, we were decorating for Christmas. So even though that's not really part of my job description, that maybe isn't a daily duty, but that's kind of an exciting duty where I get to do things like that. So.
Awesome. So that question had come from, so thank you guys for that question. This will probably be our last one for now, and we're going to have the question of how many plants are at the Myriad Gardens?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. I don't know an exact number, but I should find that out. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of plants. I know that. So in our conservatory, I think typically we say we have like 15,000 just inside. So if we have 15,000 inside, that doesn't even count outside. So yeah, we have a lot of plants. Great question.